Kat kongulewa, already ka go gar.
Okay, thank you, Deputy. O te moai whātalofa, mwhātulo I lo ia malua me Samoa I le nei tūlau le aso. Ua tātou au lia mai fo I le nei aso le alofa ma le anga le leo le tua. I lana tausinga I lo tātou atunu. E vi ia I pelo na alofa I le au noa. O iai le manatu o le komiti whaafoio le fionga le kovana. Ia whapea foi le fionga le kovana I ale manu maunga. E mātou te o mai foi le nei tūlau le aso e tuatu se whamtalanga. Tūlanga o ngā luenga o lo whengai ai pēa lau whainga mālo. Ia e whap awale tali atu I le nei whamai o le koviti. Me lea, pa ia malu o so tātou atunu. Ia o te whanunu watu, whātula watu. Pai le ngawhetau I maina e reo auna. Good morning, American Samoa, and to all of who are participating here and from abroad. This is another edition of our weekly press conference to provide you, the people of American Samoa, some summary updates of how we are proceeding with our response to the COVID spread here in American Samoa. Last week, we did not have our weekly press conference due to other activities and other conferences that were being held, but we believe that everyone has received updated information through our daily releases, and so that most are updated and have a good understanding of where we stand. But we have come a long way. Over 2 months ago, we confirmed community spread of COVID Omicron here in American Samoa. February 21st was the day of confirmation. On the following day, the governor issued the first code red in American Samoa. It is now 64 days since we confirmed a COVID spread in American Samoa. As the reports have shown, COVID Omicron has blanketed the entire island of Tutuila and Aunu. And by the grace of God, the islands of Manua continue to be free of COVID. Over 5,700 positive cases, and sadly, over 20 fatalities related to COVID have been reported here in Tutuila and Aunu. In addition, we have faced many restrictions and limitations to our freedoms. Our freedom to do as we wish, to go to church, to eat at restaurants, to take our children to schools. A lot of those restrictions have been difficult and tough for many of you in American Samoa. And the governor and the task force is well aware of these difficulties. And we thank you for your patience and for your cooperation. Your sacrifice and commitment these 64 days, and by the grace of God in helping us with our Omicron and COVID response, has led us to this day, has led us to witness the COVID spread continue to fall. Our positive numbers continue to fall. Our vaccination numbers continue to rise. At its peak during the week of March 21st and March 27, we saw a daily average of 240 positive cases. This last week, starting April 8, ending on April 24, the daily average has dropped to 16 positive cases a day. On Thursday, March 24th, we recorded our highest daily count of 386 positives. Yesterday, we recorded only 3. So there is no question that our positive count continued to fall, and the fatality rate at LBJ remain steady. But, and this has happened because of your commitment and your sacrifices, American Samoa. You're agreeing to abide by the quarantine rules, the restrictions. You're agreeing not to violate the restrictions that are placed on your movement and your activities. All of these activities, your agreement to wear masks in public and to stay home when you're positive, your agreement to come and be vaccinated and get tested when you're positive. All of these little things that you have done have led to this day where we continue to see our numbers drop and our surge continue to move away from us. But as we were reminded this morning during our daily briefing by Mark Young, one of our federal partners at FEMA, American Samoa is not out of the woods yet. We still have a lot to be careful for. We have another variant of Omicron, COVID, that is ravaging throughout the US. And so we have to be continually mindful of these threats because we don't want to return to another big surge and see many more of our people get sick and worse, die from COVID. So on behalf of Governor Limanu and the people of American Samoa, the government of American Samoa, I urge our people to please be patient. I know that you want to go out and enjoy your freedoms, but let's be patient for a little while longer until we see this thing through. I want to remind people respectfully, restaurants are still closed for indoor eating. Schools are closed for in-person education. There's a lot of these things that people are so eager to do right now. I'm pleading and I'm asking you respectfully to please hold off for now. In time, very shortly, we will be opening things up. As you know, school will be open next month, and we hope to increase the number of public gatherings, and all of these things will come in time. But before the governor issues his declaration allowing these things, respectfully asking the people of American Samoa to please bear with us and be patient. And time will come and you will be allowed to do the things that you want to do in safety. Our program today will start from DOH presentation. DOH update will be followed by LBJ. Then an update from our federal partners, FEMA and HHS. And then we will have a short presentation from the DOE Director, Talawenga Samasoni, who will talk about the general plan to reopen our schools next week. After the presentation from DOE, we'll take some questions from our media partners. And then, as always, we will close by special remarks by Paramount Chief Maunga Swim. And now I turn to Director Nua for the presentation from our DOH partners. Director.
After yatu mo le mato of Noah, mo mua amele vi inga le tua tu sai for le nei tai au fo, ma le for mai foi tu le manu ai fa no a le o le nei tai au. Ta tonu tu le manu le na ma po tu le nei tai au ma lenga la na fionga a to foi tu la o nei aso. A nei tai au la sa o nia tu tanga luenga tu sai foi mas fa sol nei tai au. A wa fo tau tu an ma lo. Na yaso tolu po useful fight tu la te atu. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Director Matusa from DOH. This morning, Dr. Lovao and her EpiNet team will provide an update since the past 24 hours or since this weekend, during the weekend, all the happenings in regards to response to COVID-19. So without further ado, this time I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Lovao for her portion of our briefing this morning. Over.
I know the slides are in English. They was discussed in the morning, but for the press conference this morning, I will speak in Samoan for the sake of our Samoan speakers who are listening to this press conference. After mo lo abanoa ala amata Lord for sanga mai lim tanga luenga so fu malaloina itu lama mena stupu ya perida lus fu fa lua felos fu malua. Next slide. Se vaingan na Amerik Samoa itu langa o mesa supu ile aso los fu fa perila lua felos fu malua. E se la malfai sa pa peona fa so te su enga mor covitis fu riva mai de matanga luenga so fu maloloina pa pe fo e fal mai LBJ ala fa e la so se la malfa la so sa so enga mor covitis fu riva ya perila lus fa lua felos fu malua mana to tolu la so fa peona fa maunia o mo covitis fu maleva o ila so ye to tolu ele se sina fayen tonga fiti ina o maso so enga ali matamai tai fo mai ele se so to tolu le mana o miesi ni a fo ni tonga fiti nga mo covitis fu maleva e tasi le reporting mai e tasi tata reporting mai le fal mai PJ fa na maliu i fa mai covitis fu maleva ile los fu fight to la so tana mai los fu fight to la so ale afa de on sa na talan sala no atwale le fale mai LPG e winga for ilia tangata papiona mai maso for covitis fu maleva. Next slide. Ma ole numero tu o faila io numero ila tu fa pion fa ma ni mo covitis fu maleva mai le luas fu fa tu la o ma ya tu so tori la tu fa pion fa ma ni mo covitis fu maleva ma le fa ila tu o mo fa pion fa ma ni mo covitis fu maleva talun amata mai le nei fa mo e lima fe fitse la fas fu fa e to se fulu la to fa pesa no fo isia o no fa mai covitis fu maleva o fa pea o na tu wa fa amutaina la to no fo isia o fai ona to fo ya tu me sama sanyai ma le fa ila to fa pea ona wa mai on tu ona no fo isia e lima fe to se la malei to se la maleva ma le fa ila to fa pea o mo covitis fu maleva mo le luas fu fa tu la so tal ma vai to se la lima fu malima ma ila to lo mo le covitis fu maleva lo fa fo no mala la fanga ila se ta sin ton fitia mo fa mai ma le fa ila to tal ona amata le fa mo o mo ton fitia e lua fe va se fulu so fitu ila to sa fa pea ni potia mai ta fia fa mai ai to tasi le o mali o na fa mai covitis fu maleva ma o le afa peona au ili ia tu ia fa msalanga e fa mai el LPJ. Next slide. O le vainga le tangata lo fa peona o atu e fa yola tu su enga o so selo ila to lo atu fa su enga i fa le mai el LPJ po tu fo il tanga lo enga so fu malolo ina e amata mai dis fu varta sanga o lo no se fulu o no ila to le lo so sele ila to lo fa ina wenga mai mana o mio fa su enga le to fo ya tu ila to wenga o le tala fia to selo ila to mas fu varta sanga o lo no se fulu pa peona fa yola to tu pu ya mole covitis fu maleva le una yela tunu fa piano mai faila to tu fa tu covitis fu maleva pu nei fa mai. Next slide. Si va aingan na i tu yo ila to fa piano mo covitis fu maleva to le na mo ila so lo su fa perilla mai to le o ila to malava so na faila to tu pu ya mo le covitis fu maleva ma le faila to talu na amata ne fa mo o na faila to tu pu ya e valis fu fa te si mal valu pasene ma ila to fa pe o na faila pusto dos ma to le e to lo ila o ma faila to pu el pusto number 1 ai to tasele fa se poster ma le ona i foi la tino e fa pe no mai faila to pusto dos a wa mo di ma winga o le pusto so ani a wa ni mo i tinga ina fa mai pe mo foi 7 no e pa so o le fa mai. Next slide. Ya le aingan na fa no po America Samoa ma au no ma manua o le tutanga vale lo ele lisio no tsaitasi mai au fai la so lo mo le fa mai covitis fu maleva le tutanga tau lo ele fa no America Samoa au no ma manua o le malo si le lanu o na wina o le tele fo ile o tanga o mo fa mai ia la fanga e pe o ta funa no uli leone ili ma panga ma o terminei ile o ia lava se tsaso o mo covitis fu maleva e fa pe ona ripotia mai ile mo sai manua. Ale te mi fo nei o lo fa pe ona fa tau tai su enga COVID su malaiva mo e fi fai malanga tu manua a fai positive e le ma fai ona e malanga i manua se vangan panga ai tanga sa fa pe lo mo la tu su enga negative ole tau ma fai nga le al te force ma fai nga malo ina ia pui manua o ne ia usfa ma ia manua. Next slide. Ya se va ainga na le ita so fa mai pe le sa so ye ne vai te mi la fa yo o la so mo ko bi tis fu maleva ma ta la fi lo fa pe a ona la lo ta so fa mai pe no mo wina le sunga le car lo fa pe ona mo wina le la tisios o e o mo ko bi tis fu riva e fa yo malanga to fa la so suenga. Next slide. Se va ainga na ya ila tau fa peo la tau umoro atu fai so enga ma ila tau fa peo na mo fa ma COVID su maleba ya se tala fia ya lo walu la vai la lo numero ila tau lo mo COVID su maleba peo na mo maluina la so na ya na tau lo ila tau fa ma ni mo COVID su maleba. Next slide. Ya se va ainga na ila fa ila tau o lo mo fa peo na maliliu talu mai le fo le fa mai ono go pisi fa mai le atu no ya al pasene lo ye America Samoa o lo tati ton wa tati le te sima le fa pasene o ila tau maliliu talu mai ona ama tele pisi fa mai itu ton lo America Samoa. Next slide. Next slide. O se va ainga na tatu Fasalongo tato tuinga masuenga ne bayaso la sanga fueta la sfarele o lo faya tuinga tafu na diwa leone amauli fal mai tu malo o la fapeo na yaini ni fofuanga la fapeo na faya na moatu pupio ko bitis fuluiva inicio o no fuanga la fapeo na filifili yaile le matanga luenga meseso le matapto samo ina ima faina tele pela manoa e o toile tu e faina to puia pe ama se ono ni no fuanga la fapeo na manto tam fai yai ai a mo mai no fa na fasa la what's for ile la tu na ima faina mo la manoa e o to faina to puia covid su maleiba mo su engar covid su maleiba o la faia le mai la sama fuata la sfarele leone amauli matafuna ACF1 o la sto na la fa pe ona tsala pe tsafuna ACF1 mai le palu le lua le audi e fa yeso enga matonga fitinga ma le ale ai se tanto drive through fo le malava le po market ne ya sto na ala fa pe tu le ya tu la fa nga luenga ga tu e no mala la fanga e fa yet tu enga covid from leiba. Next slide. Next slide. Ana fainga na suenga mo COVID fuluiva lo fa pe ona lava pe suenga lo mo le tanga venga so fu malo lo ina influenza suela su lo malanga to fe faila to suenga mo COVID fuluiva di fie foi fa ilo atu e fast food wafe ni so suenga fa pe no mai le sto na nei mo le afa ia suenga la fa pe fa ngai na mo le ofisa wa onga a watu e amatali wa onga ile vai so ile so lo me. Next slide. Next slide. Ya wela auna lo fa pe na mo wal tanga venga so fu malo loina poli fa le mai foi le LPG so ngafiti ai la so mo wal COVID fu maliba. Next slide. Next slide. Ya tuinga I fa pe na fa la so anai ile malai ba lele I vai loa malai loa fa lolo laudi e fa pe fo ya se singa to ainga so sa mai loa se lauli mas furu tui sa fa la so anai ale tele la boni tu o le booster dose le fa pe na ona fautu ina la tu ya fa ona to booster dose mai fa ave fa le ne amalo ai mo ya to le nga fa sai ya la fa ngai vai loa malai loa fa lolo malaudi mo le sili ina lo mtanga renga so fu malo lo ina a wala val fa yo tu yo covid fu malaiba. Next slide. Ya ole atan na pol fa fanuan na po ila to fa pe ona o fa ya la to tu o mo mon fa tu el covid fu iva ino mala la fa ngai America Samoa ma no ole ngangol mtanga luenga me task force ina isuia ila to no mala la fa ngalo lanu me matsa isuia le lanu mona vai po lon mona malu si fo I wala mona malu tu samali va fu pasende o tanga tanu o le ala fa nga me le ala fa o mona fa yo la to puia. Next slide. Sa ainga na ile le au fa ila to fa pe o na fa yo la to puia mole atu no ato Amerika Samoa balus for malfate si maltasi paseno ila to uma na fayo la to pui amata malilima to sanga ya luanga ilunga mai balus mal balu tesi malilima paseno ila to fa pe ona tasi la batu pui lo fa pe ona faya na ngani la tunu ila to le o mo le na tasi tu pui ina yo mai tunu faile isi tu lo na lua ya me se fo ita to pusto do so lo mo wala lua no fanga e faya ia tu pui. Next slide. O se vaenga na ile ya mo ilato umala whakau whai tūpui amata mai le lima tau sanga la unga ilunga. Tala fia iwa sumalua tesi malwhapa seno ilato mai lima tau sanga nga ilunga wa na whai o lato tūpui e lua. Pe amare tasi tonu pasene ilato whatalia tuilo na lua. Ai tolu tesi maleonu paseno ilato wa tawo no mai whai lo lato tuilo na lua. A tu whatasi nei numera e tu sa male iwa sumalfitu tesi mal tolu pasene o tangata anu Amerika Samoa mai le lima tau sanga e alunga ilunga wa se tau na mai e ona whai o tui. Next slide. O se vaenga na mo ilato ma le sfulu tau sanga ilunga ilato wa umana whai o lato tui o le pusto number 1 po ilato wa te tau no mai wha umar whai pusto number 1 mo ilato fo ile i o teni whai e le pusto number 1 e a maleon su matasi tes maleon paseno ilato sfulu tau sanga ua wha pe ona mai e ona whai o lato pusto dos number 1 ma lo i e pe ilato lo o wha atali e o mai whai lato pusto pe a malo sfulu fitu pasene e a pe sfulu tasi paseno ilato ile i o teni whai le pusto number 1 ia mana tua foi o lewa ia foi le pusto number 2 ele ma faina fai le pusto number 2 a fa pele fai lo pusto number 1 e fa tua ina ta o pusto number 1 e pui ai tanga tanu mai le tinga ina covid is full river pe ave tua foi le fa ma ina si tulama. Next slide. O se vaenga nai whawhanua mo ilato whapeona mai ele pusto dos mai se furulua tau sanga e luanga ilunga peona tanga ia umalai a tatou lalu malau mea mata ia nai nuula lanu moli pe tasi ele whapeona ona lalu al pasino ilato surua tau sanga ele i whaio lato tui o le pusto number 1. Next slide. Ia al vaenga lia ilato o mana whai pusto mai le lima sfulu tau sanga le unga ilunga ia te le lava fo inga luenga ina ima whai una ia ni tanga te lima sfulu tau sanga na ilunga ina ia whai o lako pusto dos number 1 ele i whai le pusto dos number 2. Next slide. O lea whainga leo tui pupuia mo le COVID-19 iwa lo whapea na ia i neiti tonu o matanga luenga sui fu maloloina ma lo lava matutua e tato tui pupuia e whanga solo e tui inga neiva yaso e mesi fo ina wa yaso ka auli atu lola man malos. Next slide. Ia o lato i whapea o na wanga waa mo le pusto number 2 mo ilato sfuru tau sanga alona ilunga me se lava ilato mo in mai whapitua ia me se fo tato atu o ato tele lo mo suka to mo lunga mai fatu ia e nga waa mo le pusto number 2. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Ia mo le wa manatu so fu maloloina na ia suia taimi fa peno fo ise ai mano fo pui ai la sino ona o tata wa aia wa matan wa laiti lava no beo ila so fa peno mo el covid is fu riva ma o ye fo fu fuanga la fa pela suia fo ila so fa peno fo ise ai peno fo va ai o le la mo ila so wa quarantine po no fo va ai po no fo pui ina le lima so la no fo pui ai peno fo va ai lo na so ai nga mo ila so fa peno fa mo ni mo vitis fumaleva o la no fo se mo le se fu waso o swinga folia mo e no fo puia fa pe fo e la no fo se o no vitis fumaleva. Next slide. O es fo fuanga al malo task force ina e fa pe to sala e fa nga malanga le ba Amerika Samoa ai le fa ile tulanga e ni fo fuanga e sa ona fa tsansia ta yala mo e fai malanga atu ia Samoa fa pe fo e o fai malanga mai Samoa i Amerika Samoa nei ma le fa pe ona fes fontanga ale matanga wenga so fu maloloina ila so nei man tanga wenga so fu maloloina Samoa na ia fa pe on tala no ina ia fu fuanga ma fa satia lo ta ia la mun mutsa ia ila fai nga malanga i malanga atu Samoa mai fo i malanga mai Amerika Samoa ma le manatsu mal fa mo ia fa pe ona mo le fu fuanga sia so nei va yaso ale amatalia malanga ile ba Amerika Samoa o Samoa. Next slide. Misi nau fuafuanga whaapeo na salinoa nei le so. Next slide. Ya, mole, next slide. Ya, wa whaapeo na whasalolina masalanoa ina la whaapeo na toi amatalia o ngal whanau, mai le visenga 5, tau le visenga 10. Ma o nisi o fuafuanga po nisi fo leo ta ia la whaapeo na whaamole moe le matanga luenga so fu malaloina. Ma tau te ngā lulu e whaatasi ai mai le ofiso a onga. Ina ia mawhain toi fo I whanau I onga I sino fuanga saunga le mu, ina ia le pipisi whaama I whanau pe amatalia la so a onga. O ia tulanga pe o tuinga I whaapeo na whaitu I COVID-19 iwa na I whanau, o le whaangale le tai fofonga, o le nofo lea awale nofo lea ia ono futu le vao le stamai titi ma le stamai titi, o whaingo suenga mo I lato mana I whanau whaapeo na iei ia aunga le whaamai, po I lato fo I whaapea o ne expose nisi o ainga, po nisi o wo o mau le whaamai o COVID-19 ma le iwa, mana o fia fo ina le lei le ea, I se tono whale a onga ina ia mawhai o nā malawa ina se whanau se ele lei au whea ngai ma o onga. Mana o ia fo I le whamalatu I whanau, mawhai a onga mai lato o marita ua o le furu ina o 5 se tulou, ma ia matulanga whapena I pui e whanau ma te pesi o le whamai. Whautu ina fo I a whai e mai se tamai titi a wane I saule a onga e tauna whai suenga, ma ia whamalo sia fo I lo fisa a onga ne whaapea na whamama whale a onga mano whanga ume whanga le whanau, ina ia pui whanau o ne ia ni tūlanga o le whaamai. Mai whailau atu fōi, mai sunga le whaatono ni sa o le onga me le car, o la whapeo na whaieni training, po ni fufuanga na tanga luenga so fumalaloina, e train ai whai a onga I le asolulu nei I le whaingo suenga. I la so lulu nei le iwa tai ao le hawhai le tāpuna high school gymnasium mo I la tō mo whai a onga whaapeo na tō fia ma whilifilia o le a whai suenga mo le a onga ma le a onga a le auli le so lulu lava lea le a whai le li auditorium mai le tasi le lua o la whaapeo na so soani a toa matanga ruenga so fumaloloina I whai a onga o whaapeo na tō fia le whaatono ina ia ma whai na la tō whaatau tai suenga al whanau I to tono a onga tasi I pe a mare tasi pe lo whai a onga mai lea onga e so soani fo I lea fuanga ma o le whai inga nā o le a fo sanga matanga ruenga so fu malolo ina mo lusu whai tula lea so mawai asu a perila lusu whalu a whele luas fo lua da to tu ina tula manua I whaatonu whaatai mo loa noa
O fionga ma le mamalu o task force ai mese paanga o le whaasoa la ea ale mtanga luenga mo le nei tai au a wafo tau tuaino tul manua ma mato marolo atu sa ui atu mo whaafstingia whaaftai tele mo le mato wamanoa.
Ama alo whaaftai la fionga le whaatono mo tisa whapea foi le sunga le fomai a la wao o na o le fosanga matamufie mo le nei aso ia o South Temi o na tuatu kwele ofisili ia tātou o fia. A temi nei o la tuatu lola banoa I le tātou ofisa o le whalmai, au sunga Dr. Ledua, ia ma le CEO pia whai o awai mai. Dr. Ledua?
Thank you, Honorable Gar. Good morning, American Samoa. This is a briefing from LBJ Medical Center for the activities over the last 24 hours. We have conducted 99 tests at LBJ Medical Center in the last 24 hours, and one of those tests was positive. 7 received treatment, and there are 7 patients admitted right now at the COVID ward in the hospital. We had one death, one 73-year-old male who had 2 doses of vaccine on the 24th of April. He has a lot of comorbidities, and he was admitted on the 22nd of April, and unfortunately, he died on the 24th of April. As of today, that brings the number of deaths from COVID-related deaths in American Samoa to 25. We have one death that is still being reviewed, and once that is confirmed, the number of deaths will be updated. Next slide, please. We would like to report that we have been receiving assistance from our federal partners and also from our friends in the other jurisdictions, CNMI and Palau, who have provided us with more equipments that is needed and it is required for our COVID preparation. We have received 3 oxygen concentrators, 3 cardiac monitors, 3 pulse oximeters from CNMI, and we have received some test kits also from Palau. I will be presenting on our mock policy. Mock policy has been prepared with the collaboration and with the assistance of our federal partners who have helped us with the training and putting this mock policy together. This policy has already been signed by our CEO and will be issued out today. The most important component of this policy is the ability of our morticians at LBJ to do embalming of the bodies of our loved ones who died of COVID-19. There are 2 important options that is available in this mock policy. First option is no embalming, and the second option is the embalming of the bodies of the deceased that dies of COVID and COVID-19 related deaths. We have done this so that we can meet the needs of our public to have an opportunity to view the bodies of your loved ones in the final hours here on earth before you take the bodies of your loved ones home. If the embalming process is done on the bodies of the deceased, the families will have 2 opportunities to view the bodies before you take the bodies of your loved ones home. The first opportunity is during the embalming process, in which the 2 family members are allowed to view the application of the clothes onto the bodies of your loved ones. And the second opportunity is the viewing of the body on the final day when you're taking the bodies of your loved one home. As we allow these opportunities to be available and to be provided for the family members of the deceased, we also would like to make sure that we provide these opportunities in a safe manner to prevent and to minimize the spread of COVID-19 to the family members and to the communities. Even though we are allowing the embalming process to be done, we still do not allow the touching and the handling of the bodies of your loved ones before we release the body from the morgue. With the no embalming process, the opportunity to view the bodies of your loved ones is limited only to the day that you will be taking the bodies of your loved ones home. 3 members of the family are allowed to view the body on that final day. You will be given time, 30 minutes, to view the body of your loved ones before you take the bodies of your loved ones home. Those are the provisions that is provided in the policy after we included the embalming process to be included in the preparation of the bodies of your loved ones before they are taken home. This policy will be made available and will be given out today to the task force and it will be made available to the members of the community. And I would like to assure the family members that the process of embalming and no embalming will be explained, and it will be the information will be provided to you in greater detail when you are in the hospital during this most difficult time of getting the bodies of your loved ones in the hospital. The other thing that I would like to share is that we are grateful with our federal partners who have helped us to put together information in reviewing our mortality and our deaths since the surge of this COVID-19. I would like to acknowledge the work that Dr. Hancock and our other federal partners have provided, for they have given a preliminary COVID-19 mortality analysis that we will be reviewing, and will be giving us very important information that we need to know, and that will also help us as we move forward from here in regards to all our COVID-19 deaths. And before I finish with this presentation, I would like to acknowledge the support from our community in supporting us in this fight against COVID-19. I would like to thank the donations that has been given to the hospital from all members of the community, from business communities, from church groups, from other organizations, and from individuals who have donated water, soft drinks, and goodies to be provided to our providers who have been working tirelessly in taking care of your loved ones who are here in the hospital. Thank you so much for that support, and thank you so much for your kindness. I would also like to acknowledge the assistance of Blue Sky, who have donated 4 Samsung tablets to be used in the COVID ward, and this will allow family members who are admitted in the hospital that do not have access to families to come and visit them in the hospital. These 4 tablets will allow your loved ones to be able to communicate with you from the hospital bed. So with those, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you of Blue Sky for the donation and for the assistance. We are in this COVID surge together as a community. We have had support from our federal partners, from our friends and our colleagues in other jurisdictions. We have had support from the communities, from the business houses, from the church groups, from other organizations, and from individuals. And here we are at the hospitals. We are taking care of your loved ones. And as we work together to provide this, we have been successful over the last 2 months to fight against COVID because of all your support. And for those, I would like to thank you once again. Thank you all, Big Faftai, Lava, to the entire community for your support and for your help. Thank you very much. May God bless American Samoa.
Thank you, Dr. Ladua, for your presentation and for the work that you are leading in our LBJ, taking care of our people. Appreciate. Stand by for questions at this point. Moving on to our next presentation from our federal partners, we have Allison Flander, who is will be presenting on behalf of our federal partners.
Full of Honorable Lieutenant Governor Talawenga, Paramount Chief Monga, traditional leaders, other elected officials, and all people of American Samoa. It's my honor to join you all here today in this press conference. During the weeks that I've had the privilege of working in American Samoa, I've seen kindness, dedication, and sacrifice as we confront together the challenges of COVID. I have felt welcomed in ways I could not have anticipated, and my fellow federal responders and I thank you all for allowing us to join your community. As a federal employee, I took an oath to defend our Constitution, and when I see the US flag, I remember that oath and the reasons why I continue to choose public service. I'm grateful to be a citizen of our great nation and with its territories and 50 states. And celebrating Flag Day with all of you last week reinforces my belief that the diversity of places and people makes our country great. And many thousands of miles away from my home in California and even farther from our nation's capital, American Samoa is an important part of this country. Today, I'd like to review the support the federal government has provided the American Samoa government over the last couple weeks and during the entire time we've been here. Regarding our vaccination teams, we have been supporting 4 vaccination sites, including the addition of LBJ providing vaccines to the public last weekend. We've been able to administer over 10,400 vaccines to individuals here in American Samoa. In addition to those 4 steady vaccine sites, the U.S. Public Health Service officers have supported DOH with 8 pop-up sites over the course of the last 3 weeks. And we are eagerly awaiting to support DOH on the potentially 6 pop-up sites for vaccinations this Saturday in various villages. Our team also continues to provide outpatient therapeutics, which is delivered by the U.S. Public Health Service officers at 4 therapeutic sites. These are test to treat sites in Tafuna, Amauli Health Center, Leone Health Center, and LBJ, providing over 1,580 people with therapy treatments to feel better after contracting COVID-19. If you are feeling sick, please definitely check out one of those test to treat sites and they can help you. And they're open 8 to 4 on Monday through Friday, and the Tafuna site is open on Saturdays 8 to 2. We are continuing to resource PPE requests through our FEMA logistics, and this includes masks like N95 masks, K95 masks, procedure masks, as well as surgical gowns, gloves, and wipes. And all of those current shipment did arrive last weekend to support this COVID surge. We also continue to support the mask distribution campaign that TEMCO is leading. They have been distributing masks to government agencies, houses of worship, and nonprofits, to any of those elements that need assistance. The distribution of masks, gloves, and hand sanitizers to the American Samoa government departments agencies has been ongoing. And if you are if you are one of those organizations and you require masks, gloves, or hand sanitizer, you can reach out and email both the TCO Salmana and CPO Etuale for coordination and to get some of those supplies. FEMA is focused on the expedited project for LBJ TMC conversion project, but we also are supporting other reimbursement application projects with ASPA, DHS, DPS, the Port, ASTICA, ODAPM, DOH, and LBJ. In regards to that facility conversion project for LBJ, our Army Corps of Engineers continues to support with that technical assistance, and they're supporting procurement of essential construction supplies and equipment this week. FEMA and HHS are also supporting capacity building for DOH clinics in Ta'u and Ofu to prepare Manua for a COVID-19 response if necessary. That's only if necessary, but it's great to have pre-planning in the event that that's needed. And finally, we do have a virtual epidemiological support, as mentioned by Dr. Ludua, and virtual CDC senior health communications specialist who's on the line today to the American Samoa community, and this continues. I wanted to just mention the FEMA Funeral Assistance Program one more time. So if you have lost loved ones to COVID-19, please reach out to the FEMA Funeral Assistance Program, as it's designed to alleviate some of the financial burden associated to funerals. If this applies to you, please call the Funeral Assistance Helpline at 844-684-6333. It's open from 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, Samoan Standard Time. And it's about a 20-minute conversation. And you can find more details about the FEMA Funeral Assistance by searching FEMA Funeral Assistance on the internet. We have had some folks register already, and we have been able to deem folks eligible for FEMA Funeral Assistance as we speak. That is the summary of our federal efforts as of today. Whawhatai tele lava for continuing to do your part to fight COVID-19 and for helping your family, friends, and neighbors through this surge.
Thank you, Allison, for your presentation today. Appreciate all the work that you and our federal partners are doing here in American Samoa and from abroad. And now I'll turn the floor over to the Director of DOE, Director Talawenga Asaeli, for your presentation. Director, you're still muted.
I'm sorry. Hi, Taloha Gar, and also the briefing this afternoon, press release this afternoon, mid-morning to afternoon. And I'm happy to present our plan, hybrid blended learning plan for the return of our students to school starting next week. So please, the overarching theme of the plan is safety first. Safety is still a priority in everything that we do, and hopefully this will be reflected in the plan that we will share. Next slide. So this is our plan for the lower grade levels. ECE and kindergarten up to grade 4 will continue on with their virtual learning from home as usual, just like in the past couple of weeks. However, for the grades level 5 to 8, we'll be given the opportunity to have in-person learning on designated days. Now, because of the different sizes of our schools, elementary schools that is, we decided that the small schools, all schools that are designated as small schools, will have all grades 5 to 8 come to school all at once, but on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So I'll clarify that later on with the other slides. As for the large schools, 5 to 8, each of the grade levels will have a day. Grade 5 will come on Mondays, 6 Tuesdays, grade 7 on Wednesdays, and of course grade 8 will get 2 days. Reason being is because this grade level will be transitioning into high schools come the new school year. So that is the plan we have for the elementary schools and ECE. Next slide. For high schools, each of the 4 grade levels will have a day. Grade 9, Mondays, 10, Tuesdays, and so forth. Grade 12, again, will have 2 days because they are about to graduate. And we wanted to make sure that they get in-person time to work with their teachers so that they can address some things they're not able to address during virtual learning times. So that is our plan in reopening our schools, having a staggered plan in place to allow our students from grades 5 all the way up to grade 12 to have time to have in-person learning with their teachers. Now the schools are working on their own specific schedules, given a time frame that is given for instruction. so that we can implement this successfully. A few changes and modifications will need to be made at the high school level because there are classes that are mixed and so forth. But for elementary levels, it's easier because teachers they have self-contained classrooms. Next slide. So this is just a breakdown of the numbers of the students that will be coming in for in-person learning. These are the small schools. So it ranges from 18 all the way up to 72 students coming in at any during the 3 days for the small schools. Next slide. For the big elementary schools, there you have the breakdown by grade level and also the number of sections. So the numbers are pretty high. That's why we decided to have each grade level have a day. So the number of sections will also depend on the new declaration, whatever number that we will increase the number of people indoors. Then we will make the adjustments with the sections accordingly. But those are the enrollments for each of the schools from grade 5 to grade 8. Next slide. So some of the important preventive procedures and protocols we are currently working on finalizing and of course working in collaboration with the Department of Health to ensure that we are doing this in the safest way as possible and at the same time achieving our goal of providing some in-person learning time. Is that we are working on finalizing the parent consent forms. And this consent form will solicit the consent from parents to have their children participate in in-person learning and of course giving approval for the schools to conduct tests if needed. Now with the in-person, those who are fully vaccinated, students that is, they are the ones that may participate in in-person learning. Students with just one shot and no shots at all, they will have to continue on with virtual learning from home. Now, if parents decide that they do not want to bring their kids to school even though they have both shots, that is the discretion of the parents. We will allow them to continue to attend school virtually. So even during the days that they are in-person learning for a certain grade level, virtual learning will be ongoing at the same time for that particular grade level for the benefit of students who still wants to continue on with virtual learning from home. So there are checkpoints, there will be checkpoints, one entry and exit point for all schools. Personnel will be there to do the usual temperature readings and check the cards and everything else. Right now, we're about to finalize procedures with the Department of Health on what needs to be done if a person comes in with symptoms, or even during the school day, the students or any staff member develop symptoms, the proper procedures that we need to follow. Not only in removing that person from the classroom, and of course, conducting testings on site, but the guidance will come from the Department of Health on that. So we are doing training this week on for some staff members in each of the schools on how to go about safely conducting tests if needed at the schools. So looking forward to that as well. Again, the three important things: enforcing masking, sanitizing, and social distancing will be enforced in everything from having students in the classrooms and also on campus to ensure that students will not get sick while attending in-person learning. The meals will be delivered directly to the classrooms. School lunch will prepare hot meals for students and put them in plates and then take them to the classrooms. And students will have their meals in the classrooms to minimize roaming around and movement around campus. As for the rest of the students that will be doing virtual learning from home, we are now working with the villages to identify places where we can distribute the meals out in the villages with the help of the Pulinus and to ensure that that gets out to our students. If, again, students who will develop symptoms or become ill on campus or show up with symptoms, or we will follow protocols approved by DOH to ensure not only they are protected and people who have come into contact with them will follow the procedures needed in terms of quarantining and of course testing. With transportation, school buses will be used to transport students. Again, enforcing masking, sanitizing, and social distancing. For example, we're finalizing plans in that area of having one student per seat on the buses, ongoing sanitizing of the school buses before, in between trips, and of course, before transporting any of the students. This week, we are also having training with one of the local companies to train our school personnel on how to properly sanitize classrooms, high traffic areas in the schools, and also school buses to ensure that it's done properly, and of course providing supplies to allow us to do that very important task. Next slide. So that's our plan for having students return to some form of in-person learning starting next week up until June 10th, which is approximately 6 weeks. But I think the whole idea is to give us and of course students opportunity to receive face-to-face learning, and for us to see what will work, what needs to be improved moving forward when we start planning for the new school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Asaeli, for the presentation. Please stand by for questions. We received a number of questions online, one about the funeral policy. I believe that has been addressed by the LBJ. There's a question about allowing family members to be with their patients in the COVID ward when their time is near. Let me give that to Dr. Ledua. If there's any consideration about allowing family members to say goodbye to COVID patients who are close to their final hours.
Thank you, Honorable Gar. Right now, that is not something that we are doing. For those that are admitted in the COVID ward, our hospital policy is such that we can only allow family members if there is a medical need that's recommended by the physician who is taking care of the patient, for a family member to come in to see the family member who is admitted. Otherwise, we don't have anything in regards to family members coming in to say their goodbye, during that time. That is the reason why we are using this the tablet. We already got those tablets that is being donated by Blue Sky. That will be used not only during the final hour or the final day of the family member. As soon as the family members are admitted to the COVID ward, the use of these tablets will be scheduled on a daily basis. They will be allowed to talk and to communicate with their family members on a daily basis. That is something that we'll be starting right now, as I speak. the availability of those tablets. As I said, we'll allow family members to communicate with their loved ones in the hospital, but at the same time, it will not allow unnecessary exposure to the virus for those that are admitted in the hospital. Thank you, Honorable Gar.
Thank you, Dr. Ladua. The other question regarding the DOE plan to reopen schools, that plan has been presented and approved by the governor, Governor Lemanu, a hybrid plan subject to fine tuning that happens the rest of this week until school starts on Monday. And on the topic of schools, I want to again reiterate to our people, American Samoa, this is a decision that was reached by the governor because of his concerns, grave concern about the education of our youth, of our children. These last 2 months has been difficult for them, and the governor is very concerned about the wasting of the minds of our students. So that's why we decided to implement this procedure to provide our students, especially those who are in 8th grade and 12, who are going to be moving on to the next level of education, that they are prepared to handle those. Now, I am sure there is concern from parents about the safety and security of their children, and from teachers as well. Those are understandable, but I ask your cooperation and assistance so that we can allow this process to happen and educate our students so that they are prepared to handle the rest of their lives. Again, this is what it means to live with COVID. Not everything is going to be 100% liability free, COVID free, but we need to take some risk because we know the balance of the risk and the other interests that we have to consider. So I'd like to ask all the DOE teachers, some of you have already contacted me and trying to lobby against reopening schools, to please work with the director, work with your supervisors and your principals to make this work. Our duties as teachers is to teach. Please, I ask you to remember that your calling as teachers is not just a job, but a calling from God to teach our students so that they can be well educated. So, famulmole, pa iyo atatu fa ya oma, ia tali mai le fatala ula atu le tatu fatu sili ma le fio mal kovana. Ia wale amata lio tatu wa oma. There will be a revision or a new declaration to be issued by the governor after his review and approval. We hope that will go out this week, towards the end of the week. And that declaration will officially remove the prohibition from in-class schools to allow the DOE as well as private schools to open their schools for in-class teaching. It will come with restrictions. As you know, students of a certain age are not eligible to have the vaccination. So we will make sure that they are protected and not be subjected to the virus during this time. But we hope that a declaration will be coming out, allowing for schools to reopen and also provide some easing of restrictions in terms of public gathering. So please stay tuned for that, and we will make that available real soon. Now opening for questions from our media partners. Start with Philly. Philly, are you with us?
Good morning, sir. Yes, I just have one, I have two questions. Thank you very much. All the other